Hi, we are live. Thanks for hanging out with me again. Today is day 3 of week 1 of the 4-week challenge that my marketing coach has given me. And tonight, we're going to talk about why the Department of Homeland Security, the U.S. federal government, why is the Department of Homeland Security, why won't they do anything for us when it comes to bad guys on the internet? Not won't, but can't. And some won't too. But I'm going to tell you a story. This happened in November of 2000 when I was teaching myself Linux and I ran a DNS server in my basement. Long story short, somebody compromised it and I was mad. And I called some of my buddies and my buddies said, Greg, you got to call the FBI. Because if you don't call the FBI and they find out about it without you calling them, well, they'll just pack you up and send you off to jail somewhere. Well, that scared me half to death. So I called the FBI and it was on a Tuesday and I talked to a lady on the phone. I had to explain to her what the internet was. She didn't know. And well, nobody from the FBI ever called me back. I called and tried to report it. Nobody ever called me back. And I wrote a column at the time for a magazine called Enterprise Linux. I wrote up this column, and the last thing I said in the column was, I wish the FBI would have been a little more sharper than that. Fast forward the clock to 3 months later. We're in February of 2001. Somebody from the Minneapolis FBI office saw the column and called me and wanted to troubleshoot. And then they invited me to join this group called InfoGuard that was turned out to be a whole bunch of bureaucrats wearing nice suits and passing business cards along. Anyway, that's here. I'm going to post a link to that story in the first comment right here. Boom. Whoops. Wait a second. Sorry. Wrong link. Let me go grab it from here. Oh, my grandson gave me grief for being unsmooth last night. Now he's going to give me more grief. Oh, well. There. That's the story. That's the story with details. I share that story not because I want to talk about the government is full of bumbling bureaucrats. It's the government, you know, and we always like to beat on the government. And there are plenty of bumbling bureaucrats in the government, but that's not the root cause. That's not the reason why the Department of Homeland Security is not going to protect you from bad guys across the internet. Think about this for a minute. An email comes into your computer or your cell phone or whatever, and you open the email, and that email has an evil attachment on it, and then you click on the attachment, and now, boom, now your computer or your cell phone is part of a drone army, and you're attacking somebody in the government of Brazil, kind of like what I was a long time ago. Now, your blood should boil about stuff like that, by the way. You spent money for that equipment, and some clown on the other side of the planet is using your equipment that you spent money to buy. Some clown on the other side of the world is using it in a criminal enterprise. That ought to just make you mad. Mad enough to chew neutronium if you're a Star Trek fan. But now here's the thing. Do we really want the government deciding what's good content and what's bad content? I don't think so. When I was in 6th grade and taking civic classes, they taught me this concept called personal responsibility. Now, personal responsibility has been a thing since before I was born, and it'll be a thing since the day after the day I die. Now we have the internet and we have a whole bunch of technology, but we still have personal responsibility. And if you're like me, it seems to me you want to be a grown-up and you want to use your own personal responsibility to keep yourself safe. The government is not in a position to do that for us, nor should the government be. You don't want the government deciding what's good content and what's bad content. That means you and I need to take on the personal responsibility to figuring out ourselves. And there's a whole bunch of tools to help us do that. If you answered yes about that, then the logical conclusion is we, you and me, we, us, we the people, we are the last and best cyber defense against all the bad stuff that goes around in the world. Now, you can talk anytime you want. You can talk to the human being most involved in keeping you safe on the internet, the most powerful person on the planet, and I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to demonstrate it right here. You'll love it. This is and this is a free tool. Well, it's not free, but it's a cheap. This is a low-cost tool you can buy. Here it is, right here. If I do this right, you can see I practice this. There you go. This is cool. You can do a mirror within a mirror within a mirror. Look inside this tool and look at the person most responsible for your cyber safety. That's Greg's visual aid. Now you know why. Now you know why I do security and I don't do visual special effects. Do me a favor. I've burned about 5 minutes. If you like what I'm doing with these short videos, then invite a few friends to watch and ask your friends to invite their friends to watch, and let's grow an audience together. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about how our credit reporting system is an identity theft waiting to happen, and I've got a way to fix it. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. And click this button. Here we go.